What if what you thought was a bad experience was actually the tool you needed to earn more money and empower your life? In this video, I'm going to show you why your trauma, despite how bad it may seem, is a gift that you can use to totally transform your life. How do I know this works? Well, I didn't grow up with money. There was a winter my brother and I had to warm up by the stove because my mom couldn't pay the gas bill. 5 years ago, I was sleeping on a basement floor, broke and in debt, and now I've been a top 1% earner for the last 4 years. Transmuting my trauma was a big part of how I did it, and now I teach my clients how to do the same so they too can earn more money. Now, I'm not trained as a therapist or psychiatrist, but I have clients who are, and they too are expanding their practices and earning more money. So if you're ready to embrace your darkness and turn it into dollars, let's get into it. Now, before I get into everything, I think I probably legally have to say this is not official medical advice. I didn't go to school for this stuff, but I've just observed what works for myself and my clients. So the first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is trauma? Trauma is a story we tell ourselves about an event that happened. Most of the time, this story is something we perceive to be negative. These stories and perceptions, they influence our decisions, and these decisions determine our actions. Our actions determine what our physical existence will be. So when I was younger, I had a Buzz Lightyear piggy bank, and I saved my money in it. One day I looked at my piggy bank and all the money was gone. And I asked my mom if she knew where my money was, and she said she had to use it to buy groceries. I was upset and I kept telling my mom, you need to give me back my money. I was saving my money. I was going to use that money for something I was saving. You took my money, you took my money, you took my money. Me constantly saying these things brought my mother to tears because it's not like she wanted to use my money. We needed to eat and she needed the money to feed us. She didn't have it at the time. And I created a story around money from that moment. I stopped saving money because I had determined that it may just get taken away from me anyway, so what's the point? And I'd always spend off my money. I was constantly broke. All due to a story I was telling myself. I thought that event was entirely negative, but it's not possible for it all to be totally negative. And this applies to all trauma, from my piggy bank story to serious abuse. Why? Because of the universal law of polarity. There is no positive without negative, no negative without positive. The only reason you know about positivity is because negativity exists and vice versa. The thing about polarity is that it's a spectrum, and at the maximum levels of any pole, the same outcome occurs. So if there's too much heat in a room, you will do your best to leave the room. If the room is freezing cold, you'll also do your best to leave the room. And I'm saying that because for the past week, we have had no air conditioning in this house and it is an oven. Anyways, the same outcomes occur at the maximum levels of polarity. So if something has happened to you in your life that you perceive to be the worst thing ever to happen to you, the opposite side is also waiting for you. What you think is terrible can actually be the most beneficial thing that ever happened in your life. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. I remember when I was in high school, I saw this speaker. His name was Spencer West. Spencer had an illness that resulted in the amputation of both his legs as a child. Most people would experience that and choose to be a victim of circumstance instead of a victor of circumstance. Spencer speaks to young people to inspire them and demonstrate that no matter what happens to you, that you can make something empowering out of your life. He values inspiring people and helping people see their potential. And if you don't know your values, they are very important for getting money. So use my Value Finder tool, link is in the description below. Now, when I saw Spencer walking on his hands and at points standing on one hand and emoting with the other, I thought to myself, there is nothing I can't do. This is absolutely crazy. How is he doing this? Just go look up a video of him and see when he stands on one hand and then is talking with the other hand. I'm like, this is crazy. But it was very inspiring. So in every negative, there is a positive. And you just need to be willing to find it. But sometimes it can be difficult, so you'll need some tools to shift your perceptions. There's an old part of the brain, your mammalian brain, called the amygdala. There's actually two of them, amygdalae, close to your hippocampus. The hippocampus is responsible for memory. The amygdala is designed to avoid predators and seek prey, avoid fear and seek fantasy, avoid shame and seek pride, avoid sadness and seek happiness. You get the idea. It deals in good and bad. It is a polarized part of the brain. The amygdala makes it hard to shift your perceptions because your brain has determined that it is more beneficial or good to continue to tell yourself a victim-based story around your trauma. You will not take action without seeing more benefits than drawbacks because of your amygdala. So continuing to hold on to your story around trauma is actually serving you, and you don't want it to change, at least not yet. You need to understand that there are people who have been what you have been through and are successful because of how they transmuted the situation. Oprah is worth over $2 billion, and she faced sexual abuse by multiple family members starting at the age of 9. Despite this, she is one of the richest and most influential women in the world, and the story of her abuse makes her even more inspiring. Oprah could have let her abuse stop her, but now it's actually an inspiring example to others who face the same sort of abuse. 50 Cent, he didn't have either of his parents. His mother was violently killed. He basically had to raise himself. He was shot 9 times and still became one of the highest selling recording artists of all time and one of the highest paid men in hip hop, one of the highest paid men in the world. Imagine 50 Cent's story was he had phenomenal parents. He lived a fantastic life. He liked to rap. He made rap music and he became super famous and rich. There's no appeal to that. It's not inspiring. It's the fact that he went through these trials, these tribulations, these traumas that makes his story inspiring to us. And he is rich in part due to those things that have happened in his life. When I worked as a sound engineer, I had a client call me who was really adamant about getting in the studio. He said he would pay me double my normal rate. Something told me, do not take this session. My girlfriend, now wife, also felt off about it and told me not to go. But I wanted the money. I was broke at the time. So I drove to the other end of the city. I took the session. Long story short, the client was high on shrooms. And after about 2 hours in the studio, he got violent. He literally tried to kill me, hands and fists fighting, tussling, all kind of stuff. And he said he was trying to kill me. And I know he was good for it too, because he's a very particular individual. But anyways, luckily, I got away and everything worked out. But I can't lie and say I wasn't rattled by that event. I had to go back to the studio the next day because I had another client and I was legitimately afraid to go back to the studio. Many people would have gone through what I went through and never gone back to work or stayed in their house afraid to go outside. They'd never again take money if someone was willing to pay them double. They develop prejudices for certain people. There would be a cascade of drawbacks. But that event in the studio where I almost lost my life changed the entire trajectory of my existence. I got more fit because the guy was bigger than me and I wasn't much of a visual deterrent. And I learned how to box and I won a boxing fight. I learned how to earn more money because I wanted to be in a position to say no to things because I'm financially secure, so I could say no to the session, no to things I don't want to do. There's so many benefits that happen from that event that I'm thankful for it. When you look at something as negative, you need to ask yourself, what are the benefits to this happening in my life? Wouldn't you rather tell yourself a story that empowers you or tell yourself a story that endangers you? Let's go back to my piggy bank story with my mom. The other day, I thanked my mom for taking that piggy bank from me. Why? Because once I saw the benefits of it, I realized her using that money made me more entrepreneurial. It made me more independent. It made me motivated to get money to help my family. It made me self-reliant. It made me build relationships and network with wealthy people. There were so many benefits. I thought to myself, if that event never happened, I would not be where I am today. Same thing with the recording studio incident. If I never experienced that, I wouldn't be where I am today. The key to conquering trauma is gratitude. When you can actually say you're thankful for what's happened in your life, you will elevate. Why is this? Because an atom has a positive positron and a negative electron. When you smash these particles together, they create gamma rays. Gamma rays create light. When you synthesize the negative and the positive, you get light and you become more enlightened. This works from the most terrible and heinous of traumas to difficult breakups and even petty arguments. If you're actually willing to do the work to enlighten your mind, it will work. Now, how does this actually help you earn more money? Remember, I told you that your perceptions create your decisions and your decisions create your actions. Your actions determine the physical reality you will have. So the reason you're not earning more money is because you have perceptions in the way that stop you from earning more money. You have perceptions that have determined the decisions you make. And those decisions determine your actions, and the actions you're taking are stopping you from getting money. You're afraid to ask for that promotion because of some past trauma where you asked for something and you didn't get it or you were scolded about it. You're afraid to start a business since you're afraid of rejection because it traumatized you when you went to talk to some girl you had the biggest crush on as a kid and she rejected you. You're afraid to build your brand since you're afraid people are going to say mean things to you because in the past you put yourself out there and someone said mean things to you. Trauma can either make you or break you, but that decision is up to you. Are you willing to shift the story you tell yourself to be empowering or continue to tell the story of the victim? And I'm sorry to tell you, legends are written about the victors and not the victims. There are opportunities around you to get money everywhere, but you can't even see them because your amygdala has caused a fog created by trauma that doesn't allow you to become more enlightened and see your destiny more clearly. If you suffered abuse, then find the benefits in it and then help other people get inspired by your story and success. Unfortunately, sympathy doesn't sell. Empowerment sells. Anything you gain through sympathy, you tend to lose through altruism, which is a balancing vector of the universe. Anything you gain from empowerment, you tend to utilize towards your purpose, mission, and vision, which also empowers the world. I'm wealthy because I experienced being broke. I'm wealthy because my mother took my money that day. I am wealthy because that client tried to kill me. I am wealthy because of every single trauma that's occurred in my life. That's how I choose to look at it. You can choose to not be a victim of your past, but a winner of your past. That's how you're going to see and act on the opportunities to earn more money. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.